Hello, everybody. This review is on Beetlejuice. So, the plot of this movie is many decades after the events of the first movie. Lydia is now a talk show host who talks to people who've had their stories about experiences with ghosts, and later she gets proposed to by her boyfriend, who's also the producer of her show. And she also has a daughter named Astrid, played by Jenna Ortega, who's in love with this boy she wants to go to a party that he's hosting. And of course, Lydia's the strict mother and doesn't want her to be with him. And so Astrid thinks Lydia's so self-centered, so she calls upon Beetlejuice after telling her about her, because she thinks that Lydia just made the whole thing up. And what do you know? Beetlejuice comes up, and Astrid finds out that her boyfriend is a ghost who wants his life back. And so Astrid thinks that if she can give the boy her life, she can meet his dad again, because Charles Dietz is revealed to be dead in this film. So after all the crazy shenanigans, Lydia does the unthinkable. She has to call Beetlejuice again. And so Lydia and Beetlejuice try to find Astrid and try to get everything all back to normal before all the crazy stuff happens and there isn't too much death-related problems. For a sequel that didn't really need to exist, I liked it enough. I mean, okay, I was definitely not expecting this to be as good as the first one. The first one's one of my favorite comedies, so you could say that's pretty biased, but whatever. But for a sequel, I think it was done well in the right ways, but I think it could have been better. Because in a lot of ways, because for those who don't know, there was supposed to be a Beetlejuice sequel a long time ago, around the time the first movie came out, and it was going to be called Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian, where the Dietz family is trying to sell real estate, where Charles Dietz is trying to sell real estate on a Hawaiian island, and they find out that Beetlejuice is awakened in there, and it's up, and the island is above a burial ground, and Beetlejuice causes a whole lot of havoc around Hawaii. And I think that could have been a good sequel. It would have been different. The Hawaiian setting would have been unique, but it's good for what it is. I felt the main problem is that it felt too derivative. Like, this kind of just felt like the first movie all over again. But okay, it doesn't necessarily have the same plot about, a couple trying to get a family out of their household, so they call a ghost. This isn't really like that, but it's kind of similar in the way where you have one of the central characters being a young person who talks to a ghost, while also the ghost wreaks a whole bunch of havoc, and they realize that that's not really the best way to solve your problem. This one kind of does the same thing, but Michael Keaton is still really good as Beetlejuice. In fact, weirdly enough, I was more interested to see him return as Beetlejuice than Batman. Well, then again, it didn't help that Michael Keaton's return as Batman was announced 3 years before The Flash came out, but I digress. But here, it made more sense because Batman's a very active superhero, and he's very, you know, action oriented. Beetlejuice is a ghost, so Michael Keaton being older did really add to it, and the makeup is still really good. And there's a lot of cool monsters and ghosts in the afterworld. Like, what you can actually see in the afterworld, like a bunch of weirdly designed creatures. Like, there's even a whole office full of those shrunken head people. Like, in the first movie, there's that guy in the waiting room with the shrunken head. Like, they have a whole bunch of, and one of them is named Bob, which I thought that was kind of a funny idea to take one concept and kind of stretch them all. And I did like the idea of Beetlejuice's ex-wife. Like, I think she had a bit of a fun design with kind of being a little torn apart. And Monica Bellucci and Michael Keaton do have really good interactions with each other. I think they really work well as an opposing ex couple. And I think it was definitely interesting for a character like Beetlejuice, because you wouldn't think of him as the romantic type, but he was really fun to see. But a lot of the time, it just Yeah, it just kind of felt like the first film all over again, and the plot was very standard. Like maybe if it showed like a like I said with Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian, like it could have been interesting. It would have been way different, and it didn't have to remind you of like the sets in this movie look exactly like the settings in the first movie. Lots of the cinematography feels the exact same, and I guess you could say it's good they stayed true to the first, but with a movie like Beetlejuice, it's so insane. I think you can just do whatever you want with it, but here they kind of just made it a little too much like the first one. Even some of the same gag, like they even do, the part at the near the third act of the first movie um when Barbara tries to say Beetlejuice's name 3 times and then Beetlejuice does that little shriek like like that part makes me laugh. Here they actually do that same joke in this movie, except because Michael Keaton's older, his shriek isn't as funny, and it's not really done as funny. They're just recycling a joke, and it's. But there is some neat idea, especially that the ending of this movie was so insane and balls to the walls. I legit laughed. Like the ending actually did make up for lots of the kind of recycled plot and mostly kind of meh characters. But yeah, this movie, it's weird. It was good. It was passable. Like it's not average. Like it's not that bad. It's definitely above average. It's like I don't know, maybe like a 6.5 out of 10 or something. But I had fun with it. But I think it could have been a little more creative and maybe a bit more balls to the walls and just outright insane. But and it does do that because I wanted to see more of that. But the settings and the characters and even some of the writing, it just felt a little too derivative. So I do give it props. So is a hard film to make a sequel out of because it's not a movie that exactly set the door open for a sequel. So I guess Burton really tried to do what he could, but with Burton's direction, it really helps make it look really good, and it is really funny, just like the first one. If you love like really weird dark humor, and the performances are all great. Jenna Ortega, I think, really steals the show with Michael Keaton because Jenna Ortega is a really good rising star. I like how she does kind of how she's doing a lot of dark movies. That's pretty much all her career is devoted to now, and I don't mind it because she's really good in those types of roles. So yeah, Beetlejuice. It could have been a bit more creative, and I think that it could have had a more fun, more interesting story, and it could have put the characters in a weird scenario more. Because I think the whole Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian thing they were originally supposed to do could have been a lot more fun. But here, like, it's fine, I guess. Like, it's good, but I would have liked it more if they made it different. Like if they didn't make it try to remind you of the first one. This movie kind of felt more like a remake than a sequel. Like it takes place after the first one, yeah, and there are callbacks, but it really felt like a remake. Even like the ending kind of felt the same, and I don't know. It just some things didn't really stick with me, but it was fun enough. I laughed. I was entertained, and that's kind of all you want from a Burton movie. And there was a lot of creative stuff in it. So I'd say if you love the first Beetlejuice, it's worth maybe one watch. I mean, I don't know if this is a movie I'd really watch again, but there's enough in it to entertain you. And if you're a Burton fan, definitely check this out because he doesn't really do much movies anymore. So it's it's a good enough sequel. Like I definitely, it's not average. Like I, for the laughs I had and lots of the somewhat creative ideas they've had sprinkled out throughout the movie, I definitely think it's above average. But it could have been a bit more insane and a bit more different, and it could have had a and maybe felt less like a remake and more like a sequel. I probably would have liked it more, but as it stands, it was good enough. All right, I got a lot of trailers before the movie. All right, I got Red One. This is an upcoming Christmas action comedy with The Rock. It looks stupid. but it looks really fun. Like it looks like a dumb fun movie, pretty much exactly what you want the Rock a movie with the Rock to be, like a dumb, silly action movie, and I'm sure that's the point. But I think it'll probably be a lot of fun, especially because we don't get that many Christmas movies theatrically anymore. Most of them are just Netflix films. So I probably might see this one. It's probably good in like a really stupid way. So I might see Red One. There was Snow White. I don't know. I maybe it might be okay. I did like Rachel Zegler in Shazam: Fury of the Gods. I haven't seen West Side Story yet. I hear she's quite good in that, and I did really like her in Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. So she is a really good actress, and I could see her being a good Snow White. Though I do find it funny Gal Gadot is cast as the evil queen, which is funny because the whole story of Snow White is that the evil queen is jealous of Snow White's looks, and you cast Gal Gadot. I think most women on the planet would kill to look like Gal Gadot. But so that's really weird casting, but whatever, I guess. But the movie, I don't know. Maybe at best I'll just wait for Disney Plus because I don't really, get excited for many kids films anymore. But this one, like, it might be harmless enough. A Complete Unknown, which is a short trailer this time. It's the one Bob Dylan movie, and I've I like some of Bob Dylan's music, but I wouldn't call myself a fan of him. But I don't know if I'd want to see a whole biopic about him. But I'm sure it's good as is. I don't think I'll see it, but I it's probably something like I could see why some people would want to see it. But me, maybe at best it looks like it's something I just watch if I was bored. But I don't know. Sonic the Hedgehog 3. you know, it's amazing how the Sonic movies went from a trailer that everybody hated to a third movie that everyone's excited for, which I guess makes sense. I remember I when the first trailer for the first Sonic movie came out with that really horrible design. I remember thinking the movie looked really bad, but the movie actually ended up fine. The sequel was really good, and this movie, I think Shadows looks like he's going to be really good, and I love the idea of Keanu Reeves voicing him. It really does look like a modern, kind of those modern day, well, not modern, like those Sonic games in the 2000s that were kind of really more action oriented. This looks like one of those, whereas Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was kind of more like 90s Sonic inspired. So I think this will be a really fun film, and I can't wait for it. Wicked again. Yeah, I've been getting this trailer quite a bit. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't look bad. It looks fine enough. I don't know if I'll see it, but I mean, I've never seen the musical, but I mean, I do like The Wizard of Oz, so I think the world and some of the musical numbers I'm sure will be really good, but I don't know if it's something I think would look so good I'd want to see it in a movie theater, but yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine enough. Uh, Venom: The Last Dance. Yeah, like I said, I'm curious about this one. I mean, Let There Be Carnage wasn't bad, but it was way too short and it felt too rushed. Like a movie, you finally introduced Carnage on the big screen. It should have been longer than an hour and a half. Like that's pretty. I don't know why they. I don't know if that movie had studio interference or what, but I think Let There Be Carnage should have been way longer. So, given this is the final chapter of the Venom trilogy, I really hope this is a big enough story for Venom. So, yeah, I'm really hoping it's good. So yeah, maybe it might be. Hopefully, it's a big adventure. I mean, the whole thing's a chase movie, so maybe this will be good. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. So I got Lord of the Rings: The War of Rohirrim, the animated Lord of the Rings movie. Um, this one looks interesting. I mean, I'm not an anime person, but I think it'll be quite fun. So, because I think Lord of the Rings has potential for an animated film. You know, all the action sequences and the world. So, I'm curious about this one. I think this might be quite good. Finally, since I do like Lord of the Rings, I think I'll finally have an excuse to see an anime film this time. So, I hope this one's good. And I got a Minecraft movie. Yeah, the movie is called a Minecraft, not the Minecraft movie. It's just called a Minecraft movie, which is that supposed to be funny? Because it's kind of weird, but whatever. You know, I don't know how to feel about this movie. On the one hand, for a live action Minecraft movie, it looks as good as it could have been. Like, I think the effect. I know what I see on social media and the internet. The sheep became a meme. Like, everyone's saying the Minecraft movie looks so bad because of the sheep. And you know what I gotta say about the effects? Oh boy. The effects in the Minecraft movie. You know what I think of the effects in this trailer? They're fine. They're fine. Like, I don't think they're that bad, actually. Like, they honestly give me Detective Pikachu vibes. How, obviously, there's CGI with, like, a lot of textures and stuff, but they still look like what they're supposed to look like. So, I don't think the effects are the problem. The problem is, it's live action, and the whole thing. I'm not really digging the whole characters enter the game world thing for a Minecraft movie. It should have been an animated film, kind of like it could have been like the Lego movie where it's animated and the whole story is just them building stuff. But I guess for what it is, it doesn't look terrible, but I don't know. Like, the idea of Minecraft in live action just seems weird. So I really don't know how to feel about this. I mean, maybe it might actually end up being well executed because I I don't know, because we have the technology, because video game movies are getting quite good. So, well, they've been good. I don't hate much of the video game movies I've personally seen because, as you know, I'm not really a gamer. So maybe this might end up actually pretty good. So we can only hope. So yeah, Beetlejuice. It was quite good. I quite liked it for a sequel that wasn't really needed, and for for something that could have easily just been a cash in and a desperate attempt to cash in on Gen X nostalgia. It was actually quite good. So yeah, if you love Tim Burton or you love the first Beetlejuice, it's good enough. I mean, it's not very original. Like, it's the plot's very much like the first one. So if you don't really want to rehash, this probably won't do it for you. But if you just like the quirky Tim Burton style and like it, you have a really strange and unusual sense of humor like I do, I think you'll get a kick out of it. So yeah, Beetlejuice. Well, it's not half as good as the first, obviously, but I still think it was a worthy theater experience. It was a lot of fun. So take care.